I am Saurav Kumar, Faculty of Architecture and Planning at Career Avenues, Delhi. And today in this session, I welcome all of you because now we have one of our gate toppers, Ms.Krati Maheshwari. And she will discuss with us a lot of things related to how she prepared for the exam, how she tackled all the obstacles or the confusion or anything, and how she managed to get such a wonderful result. So I welcome you, Krati.
Thank you.
And before we start, can you just please introduce yourself?
So I'm Krati Maheshwari. I studied at IOG School of Architecture, Jaipur from the batch 2020. And this year in GATE 2022, I got the rank and my GATE score was 878.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to congratulate you on such a good score.
Thank you. Thank you.
And like after hearing such a good score, the very first question that comes in anyone's mind is like, how you prepared?
I started my preparation in October. That gave me around 4.5 months of preparation. And I feel like if you are needed, then 4 months are actually enough whole course. But it's not just about covering the course once. It's more about revision, how much you revise what, right? Because something that I've studied in last 2 months, I may not remember it now, some subject. So you have to account for the time that you would take in revision, and very important. So I divided my time like that. I gave, there are like 7, 8 subjects, subparts of what the course is. So I divided my time into that different subjects, and I set a target. For example, I 10 days, or I would study history for 15 days. And I studied it like that. And I did a lot of mock tests that were provided by Career Avenues. And how I did it was, when I completed a particular subject, I would do the mock test for that subject to know how far I am in that subject, how much I know. And that really helped me. And after doing the mock test and after all the course, another round for some revision, because there are things that you tend to forget. There are formulas, and the course is very information based. So there's not a chance that you would remember everything. I think revision is very important, and obviously solving mock tests and doing old question papers is very important. Again, there is this thing where there would be 100 people studying at your institution and doing the same as me, right? So what would give me the edge? I'm studying the same things as other people are. So what I tend to do is, suppose I'm seeing a question and there's an MCQ options in that, and I know that, okay, this one is correct, but I don't know about what the other 3 options are, right? But they are closely related to what we are studying. So I would search those 3 options to know what they actually are. So that would increase my knowledge about the subject as a whole. So I tend to do that. And because there are some things in books, like your books are very concise and precise, and I like the content, okay, but there would be some topics that just a name is mentioned. So I would search that separately, and I liked that way of going about things.
Okay, I would say that that's a good strategy to go, like getting into the depth of every topic that you come across.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so also it's like you mentioned that you graduated in 2020, and then also after that you might be busy with, let's say, some job, and then you started preparing in October. Still, you are getting into all this depth of your preparation. So, can you tell me like how you manage time for all these activities, like managing the job and also the preparation and everything?
Yeah, so this was actually my second attempt for GATE. In the first attempt of 2021, I got a rank of 116. I had studied a bit for that, but I felt like I could do better if I studied. So I thought about just doing my job and studying alongside with it. So initially I thought that I would start preparing in like April or May, and I would for an hour or two, and it would get me by, and that could have been true. But the thing is that I procrastinated a lot and it was September and I had not touched my books. So I decided to take a break from the job and just focus on the preparation. So I would say that either of the option that you take, whether you do it with your job or whether you do it in the last 2-3 months left, you just have to set a target. You have to put in the time and effort and cover the whole course and study each and everything, and that would get you by.
Okay, so that's how you managed all this, and also like
Yeah.
previous preparation helps a lot. Also, but
Yeah, but I felt like sorry, I felt like I had forgotten most things. I tend to forget, and that's why I say that revision is very important. I don't remember if something is information based and I haven't linked it to anything, then I don't remember it, and then I have to revise it again. So I do feel like revision is very
totally agree
formula
with you
based or
on
anything.
the revision part.
Yeah. So if something is like a UNESCO heritage sites or Pritzker Awards or something very information or name based, you won't remember. So I think you need to brush up these things a bit.
And it's like in your previous attempt, the gate pattern was completely different. In this year, they made a lot of changes, like dividing the architecture and planning part and dividing the entire syllabus into these two parts. So how you managed this new pattern of gate, or like there was a lot of confusion around. So how you tackled all that?
I think there was much fuss about this, and it shouldn't have been because the course was exactly the same. We had to study the same things. So basically, for 2 months, I didn't know that this was some. I was referring to the career revenues books at that time, and I hadn't touched the whole paper that you solve that has all the sections and all. So I hadn't touched that by that time. So I was just studying the books and solving the mock test. And later I realized, oh, there are two sections. But by that time, I had studied everything. So while solving the paper, I sort of knew that, okay, I'm better at architecture than planning, but I had studied it, study all of it, and then during revision and during later times, you can figure out which part that you want to attempt. But architecture in the common part. I don't feel that it is very architecture can just come in the common part. So I think you should study all of it and later decide which thing you're good at. So don't decide it preemptively that I'm going to attend this section, but also don't decide it in the paper that I'm going to attend this section and wait.
So like this is the same thing we always tell our students, that the content of the overall syllabus is same. There is no change in that, and you can comfortably cover the entire syllabus and revise that. So instead of wasting your energy in thinking of the division and then going for like architecture and planning, we always suggest that cover the entire syllabus, because even this happens that GATE assign a question in architecture part, but they ask that in the common part. So those issues should not be there. You should be able to tackle them as well. So that's a good thing on your part.
That's
I guess blessing in disguise. That you are not aware of any of this thing, but still that helped you.
I would have gotten confused if it was my first month of studying and I would have targeted low, that okay, I would just cover this part in detail. But it's better to decide which thing you're better at and which part you're going to attempt.
In that case, I think you would have procrastinated a bit more. Maybe you'll start preparing in November, I guess.
Yeah. Like, okay, the two subjects are less for me now, so I'll just hold off for a bit more.
So like after this new division of syllabus, still the topics that were there, they both hold the importance for the numerical questions and the theoretical questions. So how you prepared for both these types? And also like when the content that we provide to all the students, that is very vast content. So how you managed that also to cover entirely?
I would say that numericals are a very good part to actually score on, because there's no negative marking. You're getting 2 marks for something that is very formula based, and that's not that difficult. It's pretty easy or medium level. And if you study for numericals, it's actually very scoring. And if you attempt more numericals correctly, you have the chance to actually attempt more MCQs also, that okay, I can take a bit of risk here because these are the questions that in numericals that I've done correctly. Okay, so there is this psychology in paper that I tend to apply. I would just secure marks in numericals and then I would see the MCQs. And also something that is very information based, and the course, as I said, is very vast. You can't rely on that you would know the answer to an MCQ or to multi-select questions. But numericals in GATE, as I've seen in the previous papers, are pretty repetitive, I would say. At least 70% of the numericals you would have seen in some way or the other. There's PERT CPM that would always be there. There's hydraulic radius. So there are some questions that repeat themselves, and it's better to do them and prepare for them.
Okay, so the strategy,
so that you can attempt more theory as well.
Yeah, so your strategy includes like taking care of all the questions that were previously asked, because the majority of questions would be repeated in some manner. Okay, and
because even though theory questions are repeated in the sense that okay, there would be a question about Pritzker or something like that, but numericals are repeated, I would say, as is. The number a little bit here and there, so I don't think it's very difficult to prepare for numericals, and they are pretty, I would say, easy to medium level.
Okay, so maybe some of the students might say that being a topper, you feel like they are easy, but also like in the starting, you discussed all your strategy, like how detailed and elaborate you made the strategy. Still, in the end, I was saying that in the starting, you discussed your entire strategy, how you get into the depth of all the concepts and everything. Still, in the end, students are interested in a question that you being a topper, how much time on a daily basis you devoted for the preparation? Like how many hours are required? Everyone asks that thing. So can you share that part, something like?
Again, I would say that hours don't really matter. It's more target based. If you feel like once you start studying, you can basically fathom how much time this would a whole subject would take for you to cover, right? So at least allot that time and stick to that time, that I would take only this much time for this subject, so that you can be a little regular about your studies. So if I allot subject and I know that I'm at the 18th day, I won't, I would be regular about it. I would study more and I would count the hours that it is taking me to study, right? I have a goal to achieve, so I would complete allotted a particular time for that subject. The hours don't matter. I think it would be, you just have to set a goal towards it instead of restricting yourself to, okay, I'll just study 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever.
Okay, so again, it's like students need to use their own mind and think of their capability,
that's
grasping power, like how much time they need
because
to
I may be good at something, I may be good at this particular subject that another person takes more time than me. So there's no point in telling that, okay, you study structure for 3 hours per day. There's no sense in that. It's basically based person to person.
Okay.
So you have to decide this for yourself, I guess.
Yeah, correct. And from the methodology you shared, it's evident that you were also pretty confident in all your preparation. But what was your mindset during the exam? Like still being in the real exam for which you were preparing, there would definitely be some panic or anything. So how you prepared for that or managed all that?
Well, I would say it was the exact opposite, because while preparing, I would do all the panic before and after the exam. 2 days before the exam, I would think, okay, which subject should I revise, or what is left, which formula should I revise again. But during the paper, I try to stay pretty calm so that I can recollect things that I have studied, because I don't want that, okay, I have studied this and I still don't know. Some things that you have not studied and they come in the paper and then you can't do them, it's okay. But if you know something and then you can't attempt that, it feels really bad. So I try to stay calm during that. And I do all the panic before and after the exam. Before it's like what to study, and after it's like I don't know how the paper went. Let's just see.
Okay, so it's like just whatever you are supposed to experience, just experience it before the exam so that you can calmly attempt that. Okay, that's
Yeah,
okay.
I do
That's
all the panic before,
okay.
not during. I
And is there like any final suggestion or key points or anything that you want to share with students, like which they should take
okay.
care of?
I think I would say revision is the first point, because even if you have less time, just allot some time to revision, because if you have studied so much and then you don't revise, it just goes to waste. I feel like you'll just remember 50 or 70% of it. There's no use. Second, you have to, there are the books are very precise and they're very the content is very nice, but you have to look beyond the content. You can see the refer to the content and search it more for your own knowledge. You have to have that curiosity. Okay, what does that word mean? So you have to have that curiosity. Thirdly, I would say that once you study something, like I suppose I studied something for 4 hours today, then I would just take 5 hours of peace and just think about what I have studied. And I would just revise it in my head that what I studied today. And it just really helps me to just recollect things. I would say that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And yeah, the fourth point I would say, sometimes if you don't feel like studying, sometimes it's like, okay, I don't feel like studying something very heavy, then just do general aptitude or something. Don't waste your time. I think general aptitude is a pretty scoring part, and you should know all the formulas. You don't have to delve into it too much, but you should actually study it and not leave it altogether.
Okay, so it's like if you feel like studying, you should cover the hard topics, and then if you are like just
Yeah, that's
lazy,
true. If
just cover the easier ones.
yeah, if I'm feeling like something like landscape or something, because it's just easy to brush up through, right? If I'm feeling like, okay, I have to study, I'll pick up structures. So it's like that. But don't skip days of not, don't, I would say that.
Okay, so I would say a lot of topics are covered, and you actually shared the practical experience with students. Like instead of just
Yeah.
saying something philosophical, these are actually life-based things which anyone can, I guess,
Yeah,
use.
I would like to say one more thing. Sometimes when we're giving the paper, we just get very unsure of things, and that's natural. That okay, I'm just like 50 or 60% sure of this question. But again, as I said, if I attempt numericals and I know that they're going to be right, then I can take some risk on MCQs, right? So I think if you are feeling like taking a little bit of risk, you should, because the reward is. So I tend to, if you have studied, then I won't say that just attempt a question like that only. But if you are feeling a bit confident, or even if you're like 50-60% sure, I think you should attempt it, because other questions that you have done right would cover it if it's wrong.
It's like that technique in which you can eliminate two options, and then you can take risk of like two
Yeah,
options, so that if one of them gets
yeah,
correct, it
that's
can
what.
balance
If
out.
you're confused between two, still think about attempting it, because it's like negative one third, I think, that are just positive marks or 0 marks. So I think the negative marking is not that much, and you should take a little bit of risk while attempting. Sometimes people would study more and they would get really scared and they would. I don't think that helps at all.
And can you also share like what are now your future plans with this score?
Well, last year I scored. Right. So my basic plan was to get into IIT Roorkee for urban planning, and I knew that I won't get this branch on this course. So that's why I gave the paper again, and that's what my plan is. So I'm filling actually for 2 colleges. That's SPA Delhi, again urban planning, and IIT Roorkee for urban.
Okay, so again, good choice for that part. And I wish all the I extend all the best wishes to you from all of us at Career Avenues. And
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all the help and the content, because I think that's what actually helped me a lot to study. Because if you study on your own, it's like you don't know what to study, right? You just go in different tangents.
so thank you, obliged. And with that, I would like to thank you for this session, also giving out some of your time to share your experience with all of us and all the students. So thank you for that. And again, best wishes. Thank you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.